Welcome to Module 1, Lesson 3. So with Module 3, they're building kind of on what we did for the Lesson 3. We're building on what we did for Lesson 1 and 2, where we were multiplying and dividing by powers of 10. We use 10, 100, and 1,000. So on this chart, I'm going to show you what the powers are. But we're going to start off the far right column. It starts with a 10, and that's the same as 10 times 1. And in red, it's 10 to the power of 1. There's only 110. It's multiplied by 1. We're going to go across, and we're just going to do our multiplications of 10. So to get to 100, that'd be the same as 10 times 10. And then we're going to go over to the next one, 1,000. That's the same as 10 times 10 times 10. It's 10 times 100. 10,000. 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. And you might see a pattern developing if we go across on our rows. When we get to 100,000, it's 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. And all the way up to a million. Now we're at 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. Let's see what that transfers to as power of 10 with exponents. So looking at the first one, we only have 110 here. Going down below, we're going to go into 10. How many times is it multiplied by itself? 1, 2. So it's 10 to the power of 2. 1, 2, 3. So on the 1,000, it's 10, and there's 3 of them. 10 to the power of 3. 10,000. 10 times 4 times itself. It's 10 to the power of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 100,000. So it's 10 to the power of 5. And for a million, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 10 to the power of 6. Some of you guys might have even noticed one more pattern in here. And that is when we look down in rows, you might have noticed we have 2 zeros here, 1, 2 zeros here, and that's the power that we're at. Going back to 10, there's 1 0, still 1 0, and it's 10 to the power of 1. Do you think that's going to hold? Let's check. 1,000, we have 3 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 10 to the power of 3. I'm going to skip all the way up to a million. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll double check in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that matches up. So that pattern holds. So again, that's one of the things we're looking for when we're doing math. We're looking for patterns that help us find our way. The first thing they're going to do with this unit is they're going to give you a bunch of different numbers that are something to the power of 10. And you're going to have to determine what that is. So for example, we have 100, and we need to write it is the same as the equivalent of 10 to the power of what? Now, if I remember the patterns that I saw, I have 2 zeros. It's 10 to the power of 2, which just means 10 times 10. Same thing when I'm going down to 10,000. I'm going to have 10 to the power of 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 10 to the power of 4 because this is essentially 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 equals 10,000. They're also going to ask you to find the power of 10 when you're multiplying two things that are tens or within the 10 family. So 1,000 times 10, we're going to go 10, and we're going to count our zeros 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 to the power of 4, because 10 times 1,000, it's going to move over one place value. This number would be, if we were to solve it just as a multiplication problem, the answer would have been 10,000. But 10 to the power of 4 represents 10,000. Doing the same thing, 100,000 times 10 is the same as 10 to the power of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because that's what this will be. 1 million is the answer of 100,000 times 10. We're moving it over one place value just like we did in the first two lessons. The next thing they're going to ask you to do is to do this in standard form. And they're going to give you a number times or a number divided by 10 with an exponent. And they want to see if you know how to figure that out. So one way to look at it is if you could do the first 2 units, this equation, 8 times 10 to the 4th power, is the same as 8 times 10,000. And that answer would be 80,000. That is how we would answer that. And then when we're looking down below, the second one, we have 37,000 times 10 to the 3rd power, and 10 to the 3rd power is 1,000. So when we add these together, or multiply, we're going to have an answer of 37 million. That's our standard form. So again, they're giving you an equation with an exponent, 10 to the power of something, and you're going to have to multiply it out in standard form. And again, you can write it down below in standard form and change it and multiply it that way, or if you can see the patterns and do it without doing that, that is fine too. Now they're also going to ask you to divide with the standard form when they give you a number that's 10 with an exponent. So just rewriting it, 6,123,000 divided by, and then I'm just going to write this in standard form. It's 1,000. And you've already done this for 2 units. So 6,123,000 divided by 1,000, that's going to move 3 place values to the right, 3 columns. So 6,000 and 123 thousandths, because that's a decimal point. And then we're going to do the same thing down below. It's 308 and 1/10, or 0.1, divided by 10 to the 2nd power. 10 to the 2nd power is the same as 10 times 10, which is 100. And then remembering, when we divide, we're going to be moving 2 place values to the right, because it's 100. So this number would now become 3 and 81 thousandths.